Hi guys, I'm back with another What's for Dinner video, and this one is really good, so you're gonna want to stick around. These were all hits in my house, and I don't always get all hits in my house. So this night I made a cheeseburger pie. I was so sick and tired of your average ground beef recipes. So I just browned up 1.5 pounds of burger meat, of ground beef, and I added a half of a large onion. I let that all cook together, and then I added 2 tablespoons of um, relish and 2 teaspoons of mustard. And then I just did some really heavy squirts of ketchup. I'm going to say maybe about 4 tablespoons of ketchup. And you're going to want to give this a really good mix. This is these items are, I think, essential if you like your typical cheeseburger, the ones that have pickles, ketchup, and mustard on it. This was such a hit. Even, oh my goodness, even my kid liked this, and he is sometimes a little bit picky, and he ate a huge piece, when I'm telling you a huge piece, and he even wanted to take it for lunch. So what you're going to do is you're going to need, I missed the little clip of, you're going to need the Bisquick all-purpose mix. You're going to take a half of a cup of the Bisquick all-purpose mix, and you're to add to that, you're going to add 1 cup of milk. I used evaporated milk because I didn't have any regular milk. And then you're going to add 2 eggs, and you're going to whisk that up real good until it's smooth. Yeah, there'll be some clumps. It's not a big deal, whatever. So anyway, you're also on the side, you're going to want, in the meantime, while this is in the oven or whatever, you're going to want to cut up your veggies. If you want, you can totally eat this without, but I like to top it with lettuce and tomato and a little bit of onion. So you're going to want to take a pie pan, a pie dish, and you're going to put your meat mixture into that pie dish. And then you're going to top it with whatever kind of cheese you want. I used sharp white cheddar. I really think a sharp cheese is really good on here, because otherwise the Bisquick kind of may take the flavor of the cheese away. So then you're just going to top this with your Bisquick mix. Get that nice and topped. And you're going to put this in your oven at 350 until golden brown on top. Mine took about a half an hour, but everybody's ovens are different. In the meantime, I chopped my veggies, which I did off camera because who wants to see me chopping lettuce? And then I made some homemade baby potato wedges. So I just took the baby potatoes and pretty much just quartered them. And here we're going to just watch me do that. How about that? This was one of the best dinners, and it's actually, I think, the first time in my life I have ever made it, and I will definitely be making this again. So I put these potatoes in a bowl with some olive oil, and then I just season them however I like. So that's what you can do. Season them however you like. I added some adobo and some garlic. You don't even have to season these. You could just add some salt, pop them in the oven. I mean, it's all up to your personal preference. So then I just mix these around to get the seasoning really well incorporated on them, and I put these into the air fryer. I can't tell you exactly how, honestly, my style of cooking is cook it till it's done. So there it is. Some lettuce and tomato. I ended up putting that on top, but just for, to film, there it is. And I did put some extra ketchup. This night, I just made non-bread pizzas, and on the side, I ate them with some pickled garlic. So this night, I made stuffed shells. You're going to need the ingredients that were shown there. This is one of my favorite things to make. And people think, oh, it's such a pain in the butt to make this. It's really not. It's not that bad to fill these shells. So I used a half of this container of, I'm gonna say about 16 ounces of ricotta cheese, and then about a half of a cup of Parmesan cheese. You can use any kind you want. I just personally had this in my refrigerator and I wanted to use it up. And then some mozzarella. Same thing, about a cup. But honestly, you can use mozzarella is your traditional cheese for this, but you can use any kind. Then I threw some Italian cheese in there. This has some I use about a cup of that too. This has some provolone. This has um, mozzarella. It's a couple cheeses mixed together, but you can just use straight mozzarella or whatever kind of cheese you have, honestly. And then 1 egg. I didn't season this, but you could add some Italian seasoning, some onion powder, some garlic powder. But I just kind of like my shells a little bit not overly seasoned. I use Most of the time I use the sauce from Aldi, and this time I was using the basil one, the basil flavored one. So that has a lot of seasoning in it, so I didn't season this. Now, as you can see, this is a little bit dry. So what I did was I added a few splashes of milk. That's what you need to do if this is too dry, because it's going to be really not really good to work with if it's too dry. So grab that milk out and just give it a few splashes. This may not be the case for you. So your ricotta might be a little bit more liquidy. I find that depending on the brand of ricotta that I use is if I have to use milk or not. Now tell me it wasn't worth sticking around to finish watching this, because these recipes are definitely bomb. So just give that a good mix until it's well incorporated. And some people like to use cottage cheese. If you do use cottage cheese, you don't have to put it in a blender, but it would be better to put it in a blender. But I don't. I just use the straight ricotta. But you could if you want. Now, in the meantime, I have some shells boiling on the stove, and I'm just going to drain those out and start filling my shells up. So first, I put some sauce down in the bottom of a baking dish. If you don't put the sauce down, you're going to have burnt pasta. Make sure you put the sauce down. So I'm just going to fill these all up. And this actually made a lot of pasta. I filled all of these shells minus maybe 4 that I gave to the dog because she would not stop bothering me. Most of the time when I cook, I have to put her in her little crate and let her take a nap because she's a puppy and she needs constant attention. So, yeah, she still needs naps. She's little. So, I just filled all my shells up. And then you're going to want to save some of that sauce. Don't put it all down. I mean, if you want to, you could. That's perfectly fine. But you're going to need some more to top this off with. And I just ended up putting a couple on top because there was no more room and I didn't feel like dirtying another dish. And that's perfectly fine too. And then you're just going to top this with your sauce. I ended up having to open another sauce because I did just that, used too much on the bottom, but there's never too much sauce. And then just cover it with some more mozzarella cheese and bake it for till it's done. This night we just had some pre-purchased, pre-made ribs, twice baked potato, and broccoli. Okay, so this was a really good recipe and it was a hit in my house. I took some steak, I cubed it up. You can use stew meat, and then I also used a head of broccoli. And that packet of the beef and broccoli sauce, I let that sit, marinade together, threw it in the Instapot with some oyster sauce and some soy sauce. I didn't really use measurements. I'm going to say 2 tablespoons of soy and 3 tablespoons of oyster. Then I just did about 1 tablespoon of oil and I put it in my Instapot. This is actually the first time I was using this, and I was really nervous about it. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to put it on, and it came out exactly perfect. So I put it on for 13 minutes and I let it go, and this turned out amazing. I took it out of there once it was done, and then I made some rice in the Instapot as well, which was 2.5 cups of rice, 2 cups of water for 5 minutes. And then I served alongside of it an egg roll, and this was the best dinner ever. This was so good. Now, this night I just made some really simple turkey and cheese melts. I used some pumpernickel rye bread, just some turkey breast, and yes, plastic cheese. Serve this with some pickles, and this was nice and simple. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye.